Alright, listen close, 'cause I ain't told this story to nobody in my whole damn life. Not my kids, not my husband, not even my best friend who thought she knew every mess I ever stepped into. This right here, this is the love I kept buried for more than 60 years. And trust me, it ain't the soft, fluffy type. It's the kind that leaves fingerprints on your soul. It started back in the summer of 62. Hottest summer I ever lived through. The kind where your clothes stuck to you like they owed you rent. I was 18, broke, workin' double shifts at a little diner off Route 9. That place smelled like burnt coffee, old fry grease, and disappointment, but it was mine, and it was freedom. Then came the evening everything flipped. Right when the sky turned that cotton candy pink, a boy walked in. Not just any boy. Nah. This one walked in like he had trouble hitchhiking behind him. Messy brown hair, guitar slung over his shoulder, and a smile that made you forget your damn name for a second. His name was Elias Carter. He slid into a booth like he'd been part of that diner forever. And I swear, the way he looked at me, it felt like he already knew me. Not like folks know you from small talk, but like he saw the parts of you you're scared to admit exist. He ordered cherry pie, my cherry pie, and started talking to me like we were old friends from some past life. Told me he was a traveling musician, broke as hell, dreamin' big dreams and sleepin' in places your mama would have fainted over. You ever meet someone and just know your life ain't gonna be the same? That was Elias. A walking wildfire with a heartbeat. He kept showing up at the diner. Every day. Pie, coffee, that damn grin. And every day I fell a little harder, quietly, stupidly, like my heart didn't come with brakes. One night, right after closing time, he told me, "May, I ain't got much, but I got a feeling you're the kinda thing a man should hold on to." And God help me, I believed him. We'd sit behind the diner after closing, talking about dreams so big you'd think we were drunk off 'em. He played guitar for me sometimes, soft, low, the kind of songs that make your chest feel too small for your own heartbeat. But love, real love, the kind that ain't all sunshine, it always carries shadows with it. And I was too young to understand what kind of shadow was following him. 'Cause Elias, he didn't come to that town alone. Trouble was right behind him. I didn't know the whole story yet, but I knew enough to feel that chill in my bones when he'd look over his shoulder too often. Or when somebody in a fancy car would drive by slow, starin' too long. But he'd always brush it off. "Nothin', May. Just ghosts from roads I should have never walked." I wanted to believe him so bad I ignored every warning sign life threw at me. And trust me, life threw plenty. But here's the part folks never tell you about young love: it ain't fragile. It's reckless. It's blind. It's loud as hell. And mine was all of that wrapped in wildfire. I didn't know then that fallin' for Elias Carter was gonna cost me pieces of my heart I'd never get back. I didn't know the secrets he was keepin'. I didn't know the danger breathin' right behind him. But I felt it. And that feeling, that's where the real story begins. You ready? 'Cause part 2 is where the truth starts gettin' messy. Alright. This is where the road starts twistin' and the kind of love that feels perfect begins showin' its sharp edges. After a few weeks of Elias hanging around that dusty diner, Folks in town started whisperin'. You know how small towns are. People treat rumors like their currency. And suddenly everybody had something to say about the guitar boy who smiled too easy and slept God knows where. But I didn't care. I was 18, and when you're 18, you think love can outrun anything. Then came the night things shifted. Elias showed up later than usual. Eyes tired, shirt wrinkled, hands shaken like he'd been running from something. And I swear, the second he looked at me, something in my chest tightened. Love ain't supposed to feel like fear, but that night it did. He sat down and said, "May, I ain't who you think I am." My stomach dropped. He told me he used to play in bars down south. Told me he owed money to the wrong kind of people. The kind who don't forget your name once you're on their list. Said they'd been following him, showing up in towns he'd stop in. He thought he shook them off. Turns out he didn't. And suddenly all those slow driving cars and strange men asking questions made sense. I felt like someone poured cold water straight into my veins. He grabbed my hand and said, "I didn't wanna drag you into this mess, May. But I can't lie to you. Not you." And damn it, I still loved him. Even with danger knocking on his heels. For a few days, we tried to pretend things were normal. We still shared pie and dreams behind the diner. He still played guitar like the world wasn't falling apart around him. But the truth, there was a crack running right through us, and every day it got wider. One night he looked at me with this heaviness in his eyes, like he was carrying a whole storm in his chest. He said, "Maybe you'd be better off without me." That sentence hit like a punch. I told him he was stupid for thinking that. Told him love ain't something you run from just 'cause life gets loud. But even while I said it, I could feel something slipping between us. Then came the real break. It was a Friday evening. The diner was busy, and in walked two men I'd never seen before. Sharp suits, cold eyes, the kind that made your spine remember old nightmares you never had. They sat down, looked around, and one of them asked, "A guitar player been through here?" And even though I tried to keep my face still, the man smirked like he'd found what he was looking for. They didn't stay long. Didn't need to. Their eyes said enough. When I told Elias later, he went quiet. Real quiet. And silence from a man like him was the loudest thing in the world. That night, he said we needed to stop seeing each other. He said, "May, I ain't pulling you into this. I ain't letting them use you to get to me." I swear my chest felt like it split in two. I told him he didn't get to decide for me. He told me he had to. And even though part of me screamed to hold on, another part knew he was already letting go. That was our first breakup. It wasn't yelling or slamming doors. It was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of goodbye that don't use the word goodbye, but still feels final. But here's the part one never told no one. The night we ended, I saw him standing across the street, watching the lights of the diner like he wished time could rewind itself. He didn't come over. Didn't wave. Just stood there like a ghost with a heartbeat. And that moment, that was when I knew the story had stopped being a love story and started being something heavier. But don't think that was the end. Not even close. 'Cause part 3. That's when I found out what those men really wanted. That's when I learned why Elias ran. And that's when love went from painful to dangerous. Alright, now it ain't for the soft-hearted, so don't blame me if your chest feels heavy by the end. This is where everything that was hidden in the shadows finally stepped into the light. After me and Elias broke up, that quiet, cold break that felt like someone slowly pulling ribs out your chest, things in town shifted. The air felt different. People got nosier. Rumors spread faster than hot butter on toast. Folks kept asking me why the guitar boy stopped comin'. I lied, said he moved on. Folks always believe the simple story 'cause the real ones sound too damn messy. But deep down, I knew the trouble wasn't gone. Trouble don't disappear. It waits. A whole week passed without seeing Elias. A week felt like a damn year. I tried workin', tried sleepin', tried pretendin', like my life didn't feel like a dress 2 sizes too small, tight in all the wrong places. But every night, I'd hear a soft guitar hum comin' from somewhere far down Route 9. Not loud, just enough to remind me I wasn't done with him. Or he wasn't done with me. I kept telling myself I'd move on, that I'd forget him. But you don't forget love that burns like wildfire. You just learn to breathe through the smoke. Then one night, the sheriff stopped by the diner. Sheriff Dawson, big man, slow talker, eyes that looked like he could spot lies before you even thought 'em. He leaned against the counter and said, "May, you been keepin' anything from me?" My heart did a whole somersault. I played dumb. "Sheriff, I'm 18. I don't know nothin' worth hidden." He didn't laugh. Didn't even blink. Said 2 men came askin' about a musician, a drifter, someone trouble was tailin'. Sheriff said the men weren't the type you wanna see twice. I told him I didn't know where Elias was. And it wasn't a lie, I truly didn't. But the sheriff didn't buy it. He said, "If that boy contacts you, you tell me." Folks like him bring storms. And storms don't care who they drown. And just like that, he left. That whole night I felt like my ribs were too tight around my lungs. Something bad was comin'. I felt it. It was like the world was holding its breath. 3 days later, I found out why. I was talkin', the trash out behind the diner, stars bright, wine dead still, when I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, too deliberate. Not the kind of steps you hear from someone talkin', a stroll. Then I smelled cigarette smoke. Sharp. Expensive. Not local. 2 men stepped out from behind the dumpsters. The same suits I'd seen before. The same cold stares that looked straight through skin and bone. One of them said, "You're the girl the musician's sweet on." My stomach dropped so fast I swear it scraped the ground. I said I didn't know what they were talking about. They smiled like they were used to people lyin'. One of them said, "We ain't here to hurt you. We just need a word with him. You help us, you walk away clean." Clean. Funny word. Nothin' about their faces looked clean. They started askin' questions. Where he stayed, where he played, whether he ever talked about money, about debts, about the South. And the more they talked, the more I realized this wasn't no small-time trouble. This was big. And Elias, he was in deep. When they realized I truly didn't know where he was, they left. But before walking away, one of them said, "Tell him we'll find him. Ain't nobody run long enough to outrun people like us." Those words stuck to my brain like wet leaves. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I kept thinking about Elias on some roadside, guitar on his back, danger on his heels, and my name in the crossfire. And as much as it tore me up, I understood why he walked away from me. Loving me made him vulnerable. And vulnerable people get used. 2 days later, I saw him again. It was near sunset. I was walking home, talking the long road 'cause sometimes pain needs room to breathe. And there he was, leaning against the fence near Miller's Field. Head down, hair messy like he hadn't slept. Guitar case cracked open like he was too tired to close it. When he saw me, he froze. Not the kind of freeze that comes from surprise. More like guilt. I wanted to walk right past him. Pretend I didn't care. But love don't turn off just 'cause it hurts. So I stopped. He said, "May, I didn't want you in this." I snapped back, "Well, too damn late for that, ain't it?" He winced like my words cut deeper than knives. Then he told me the truth. Turns out, Elias used to play at a bar owned by a man named Riker. Real mean type. Ran illegal games in the back rooms, loaned money like a snake offers apples, shiny but poison. Elias never gambled. But he had a friend who did. A friend who lost big. Real big. And when the friend ran, Riker blamed Elias for helping him disappear. Said Elias owed the debt. Said if he didn't pay, they'd take it out of his hide. Elias ran, played gigs, saved pennies, changed towns like socks. But Riker's men always stayed a step behind him. And now they were here. In my town. Near me. I felt sick. Not because of the danger. But because I finally understood just how alone he'd been carrying this. I asked him why he didn't just tell me. He said, "Because you were the one good thing I had left. And I didn't wanna poison it. And damn it, I understood. Didn't make it hurt less, though." I told him the men found me. His whole face changed. Fear. Real fear. The kind you don't forget. He asked me 1,000 questions. What they said, what they looked like, whether they threatened me. I told him every detail. Then he said something that cracked the earth under my feet. "I have to leave tonight. And I can't ever come back." I swear time stopped. Everything in me screamed no. Screamed that love don't run. Screamed that I'd follow him if I had to. But he shook his head. "May, if you come with me, they'll use you. If you stay safe. I ain't letting them drag you into this fire." I told him safety without him didn't feel like safety at all. He looked at me with eyes that held more sadness than the sky had stars. He said, "I love you. Damn it, I love you so much it scares me. And that's why I gotta go." And right there, on that dusty road with the sky bleeding gold and purple, we broke again. Not the quiet break from before. This one hurt like hell. This was the kind of break that leaves marks. He kissed my forehead. Soft, slow, like he was trying to memorize it. Then he walked away. Didn't look back. And that's how I knew he wasn't coming back. At least that's what I thought. But here's the hook, sugar. 2 days after he left, a stranger showed up at my door. A stranger holding Elias's guitar. And a letter addressed to me. In handwriting that didn't look steady at all. Alright, y'all been patient, so here comes part 4, the part that damn near tore the ground out from under me. Now listen close, 'cause this ain't the kinda chapter you breeze through. This one sticks. 2 days after Elias walked out of my life for the second time, I was sittin' at home tryin' real hard not to feel anything. You ever try that? Try to just switch your heart off like it's a lamp. Doesn't work. Hearts are stubborn as hell. Anyway, just when I was thinking the whole world forgot about me, there was a knock on my door. Not the friendly kinda knock. Not the, "Hi, I brought cookies" knock. This one sounded like guilt trying to get in. I opened it and saw a man I'd never seen before in my life. He wasn't one of the suited men. Wasn't the sheriff. He was somebody else entirely. Young, tired, looking like he'd been running from yesterday and tomorrow at the same time. And in his hands was Elias's guitar case. My breath damn near left my body. The man said, "You may." I nodded, already feeling my stomach trying to crawl its way out of me. He handed me the guitar case like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Then he reached into his back pocket and pulled out a folded note, creased, smudged, like someone held onto it too long. "He told me to give this to you," the man said. My heart stopped. I asked him where he found it, where he saw Elias, if he was safe. The man didn't answer. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't even look back. He just handed me the case, handed me the letter, and walked away like his part in my story was over. I closed my door, locked it, and held that letter like it was made of glass and fire at the same time. I opened it slow. The handwriting was shaky, uneven, like someone written in a hurry, or written while scared. It said, "May. If you're reading this, it means I couldn't outrun them like I hoped. Don't panic. I ain't dead. Not yet. But I ain't safe neither. I'm leaving my guitar with you 'cause it's the only thing I ever cared about almost as much as you. If things go south, at least part of me stays with you. If I make it out, I'll find you. If I don't wait for me. Don't waste your life on a man who kept dragging shadows behind him. You deserved better than me from the start. Elias." My whole world went silent. You ever read something that feels like someone reached through your ribs and squeezed your heart real slow? That's what it felt like. Every word felt like a goodbye disguised as a warning. I read that letter about 10 times before I realized my hands were shaken so bad I could barely keep hold of it. He wasn't safe. He was running. And he thought he might not make it out alive. And instead of telling me where he was, instead of asking for help, instead of letting me choose, he tried to protect me by disappearing. But love don't disappear just 'cause the person does. The next day, rumors started floating around town. Folks said 2 men were seen dragging someone into a black car outside the old bus stop near Route 7. Nobody knew who it was. Nobody asked enough questions. Small towns pretend to be nosy, but when things get too real, everybody suddenly turns blind. I tried telling myself it wasn't Elias. I tried telling myself he was too smart, too quick, too stubborn to get caught. But the fear in my chest didn't listen. For days, I carried that guitar everywhere. Slept beside it like it was the only proof he existed at all. You ever hold something that belonged to someone you love? It feels like holding their ghost. A week passed. Then another. No word. No sign. No strangers showing up. No guitar hum floating through the night. Just silence. That silence was louder than any scream. One night, I sat up in bed starin' at the letter again, tryin' to make sense of it. Wonderin' if he planned to come back or if that letter was the closest thing to goodbye I'd ever get. And as painful as it was, part of me started acceptin' that he might be gone for good. And right when acceptance started nibblin' at the edges of my heart, life slapped me with somethin' I never saw comin'. I was walkin' down Main Street when the sheriff stopped me. He said, "May, we found somethin' you oughta see." My knees damn near gave out. I asked if it was about Elias. He didn't answer. Just told me to get in the car. We drove out to the edge of town near the old quarry. And when we got there, my whole body went cold. Because on the ground, half covered in dirt, half burned, was a wallet. A wallet with Elias's name inside it. Inside, no money, no ID, no notes. Just his name, his picture, and one thing that scared me worse than anything. A bloodstain. Sheriff Dawson said they didn't find a body. Didn't find any tracks. Didn't find anything but that wallet. And everyone knows a wallet don't burn halfway by accident. Someone either tried to destroy it, or dropped it while something ugly happened. Either way, Elias was gone. Or taken. Or worse. I asked the sheriff if he thought he was alive. He said, "May, I hope so. But hope ain't evidence." That sentence stuck in my bones. I went home that night with his wallet in my hands and the feeling that the world had split in two, before Elias, and after Elias. But here's the part one never said out loud. Even with that wallet in front of me, with that stain starin' up like a warning, I still felt him. I still felt like he wasn't gone. Like he was out there somewhere, breathin', fightin', tryin' to get back. And later that night, just when the clock hit 3:17 a.m., I heard a knock. Soft. Slow. Barely there. Like someone knockin' with what little strength they had left. I froze. My heart damn near jumped out my throat. Because I knew that knock. And when I opened the door, what I saw next. That's part 5. And trust me, part 5 is where everything you think you know about this story flips upside down. So y'all sittin' here, leanin' in close like I got some secret treasure buried under my rocking chair. Lemme finish this tale proper, Grandma says, her voice soft, steady, but heavy like she's been holdin' this chapter in her chest for decades. The year everything caught up with me. After that final night on the porch, when I told Danny he needed to walk his own road, even if it meant walkin' it without me, I figured time would chew up my heart, spit it out, and eventually patch me back together. But it didn't. Not at first. The days after the breakup stretched long and thin like a cheap rubber band. Every sunrise felt colder, like the world lost some color. I kept seeing him everywhere, not in person, but in memory, in echoes, in places that used to hold both our laughter. And the worst part, I was the one who told him to go. I was the one who said no when every beat of my heart screamed yes. You ever break your own heart on purpose? Child, that kinda pain don't fade easy. The letter that never got sent. I spent weeks writing a letter to him. A letter that I rewrote so many times the paper damn near tore under the ink. Not a love letter. Not a "come back to me" letter. No, it was a goodbye for real letter. A letter I never mailed. Inside it, I wrote, Danny, if life was fair, you'd be the man I grew old with. But life ain't fair, and dreams don't always fit inside the same future. Just know, I ain't letting you go 'cause I don't love you. I'm letting you go 'cause your dreams deserve daylight, and mine don't belong in the shadows. I folded that letter real careful, tucked it inside an old book, and never opened it again. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is walk away from the only thing they ever wanted. When life starts moving without you, time passed like a slow old river, driftin', driftin', driftin'. I finished school, got a job I sorta liked, lived days that felt almost normal. But some nights, when the wind got too quiet, I swear I could hear Danny's laugh playin' in the corners of the room, like an old familiar song. Years went by before I finally heard anything real about him. A mutual friend told me. He moved out west. He's doing good. Real good. He looks happy. Happy. That one word hit me right in the chest. For a second I felt proud. Proud that he got everything he chased. That he turned all those dreams into something real. And at the very same second, I felt like someone reached inside my ribs and twisted. Love is wild like that. Two feelings, complete opposites, living inside you at the same damn time. The day I saw him again. Years later, more than I cared to count, life decided to play a cruel joke on me. I was in a small cafe on the edge of town, grabbing a cup of coffee like any ordinary day. And I heard a laugh. Not just any laugh. His laugh. That warm, goofy, boyish laugh like he never quite grew out of being 17. I froze. My heart jumped so hard I swear it damn near cracked a rib. I turned. And there he was. Danny. Older. Yes. Lines around the eyes from squinting at sunrises somewhere far from here. A little scruff. A wider chest. A calmer smile. But still him. He saw me too. Neither of us moved at first. It was like the whole cafe went silent, even though folks were chatting and spoons were clicking on cups. For a moment, it felt like the world was holding its breath. Then he whispered my name. And Lord, the way he said it, so soft, like I was a memory he never got rid of, sent a shiver straight down my spine. He sat with me. We talked like old friends who somehow never stopped understanding each other. He told me about the places he'd been, the storms he'd weathered, the dreams he did catch and the ones that slipped away. And I listened. But behind every word, my heartbeat whispered the same thing. I missed you. I missed you. I missed you. The ring I didn't expect. We talked for maybe an hour. Could have been minutes. Could have been years. Time melts in moments like that. Then he lifted his hand to run it through his hair. And I saw it. A ring. A wedding band. Silver. Simple. Worn in from real life. For a second everything inside me went still. Not hurt. Not like before. Not jealous. My heart wasn't the petty type. It was something deeper. A quiet ache that said, life moved on, and that chapter ain't ours anymore. He caught me looking at the ring and he smiled. Soft, gentle, honest. Yeah, he said. I got married 3 years ago. She's good. Real good to me. I nodded. And Lord, it took every ounce of strength inside me to keep my smile steady. But I meant it when I said, I'm glad. And I was. Truly. 'Cause the thing about real love is, you want them happy, even if the happy ain't with you. We finished our coffee. He hugged me. Warm, long, familiar. And then he walked out the door. Didn't look back. And I didn't call after him. Some stories don't need a second ending. Some endings are perfect just as they are. Dash dash dash. The love that came after. People always ask, Grandma, if you loved him so much, did you never love again? Child, of course I did. Life don't give you just one chance to love. It ain't.